Hey everybody, how's it going? The way that we're going to do this reading is that we are going to see if there is a zodiac sign that pops up. Whoever the first zodiac sign is that pops up, that's who the reading will be for, and if not, it will be a collective reading. I'm using the Golden Art Nouveau tarot deck for this reading. The first card that we have out is the World. It looks in a way that you're on your way to the next cycle. I'm also seeing 8 of Cups come up. This will be a feeling of completion in you walking away from something, like whatever it was that called your energy into that cycle in the first place, and the involvement that you had overall. All of that has been done. It's when we see the World, it can be like you graduated from every single level of whatever that situation was. It is completed. It's over now. So there will be no feeling of unfinished business. It will feel entirely like finished business. And then having the 8 of Cups is about this question of where you can be going to next after that. Now that this is over. This can be leading you into a place where you're going to have more of a say, and you're going to have even more control over what's going on. Part of that could be within your relationships too. I feel this sense of you being able to go like more off of a whim of what you're feeling. It looks like that's also part of things as well. You know, like maybe before you could feel things, but you could have felt like you maybe had to put it on the back burner sometimes, or you couldn't always honor it. Now can be a time when this phase of things that you're moving into, you can go more based off of how you feel. Like something about the situation that you're moving into feels like it allows for more room of that, where you get to have more of a say. You get to make more of a call here, and that it can be more about what you're feeling and what you deem as being appropriate as well. We have the sign of Capricorn coming out, so this reading is going to be for Capricorn. There may be some emotional stuff that you're going to be working out moving forward. Intuitively, I get the sense that where you're moving into seems like, because you have more freedom in some way, you're getting some type of freedom that you didn't have before. I think that you are going to be more likely to address something that you can be aware of, maybe needs to be addressed, but before you may have not been motivated to do this because you were dealing with whatever you were dealing with before. Now it looks like, and this feels like it has to do with, like, it can be matters of control, it can be wounding, it can be trauma, it can be things that you do or have done that maybe have helped you to get by, but now that you're more in the driver's seat, it can be stuff that you're ready to address now. It can be things that you look at and you feel like it's not the healthiest, or maybe in certain ways it's dysfunctional even. I feel like it can be about the way that you handle things emotionally, or it can be about the way that you maintain certain relationships even. This can also be something having to do with feminine figures too. That can be part of it as well. Especially more like nurturing mother archetype energies. I feel this sentiment that you could have been getting by doing something, but maybe you look at it and you feel like there's a better way. And now because of where things are evolving to, it can be a time that you tackle this. So maybe it's something that you're well aware of, that it could be worked on or that it could be made better, but before, because of whatever was going on, like maybe you weren't motivated, or maybe you didn't have time or something like that. Now this looks like something that you're going to end up addressing. And it feels important. It's like, it can be some pattern that you want to break out of as well, where before it feels like something was going on where for some reason this wasn't being addressed. I feel like there was a very good reason why this wasn't being addressed. Like it could have like felt really valid why, could have felt very valid why this wasn't being addressed. But now because of the shift that's taking place within your life, you can feel like I don't have any excuse not to address this anymore. And I think that this is something that helps you, maybe has helped you to handle your feelings, but it can be in a way where maybe you're not totally feeling your feelings or something like that. You know, like it can make it maybe bearable for you to have the experience that you have, but it may not be helping you to process things, you know? Like maybe it's putting off you having to deal with certain things or like feel really deeply, but it can also be you not being totally present to all of the things that you're feeling, just to a point of like acknowledging everything and kind of being present to everything and holding space for yourself. This can be something that needs to be addressed, where you're like, this is something that I do where, you know, I had to put my feelings aside and this helped me to get by, but I don't want to be doing that anymore. I actually want to address this now. And it can be anything. Like I see this probably most likely as being something that was helping you cope, but you can also feel like it's not the best way to do things, and just so now you can be wanting to break the chains of that, not be in this pattern anymore. So it seems like that's where you're going, is you're going to be addressing this. Can also have to do with the way that you function within your relationships and the way that you maneuver through things on the emotional front as far as what you feel. And how you can make it as if you're like in control when maybe you don't actually feel like it. It's kind of like you have one person that's just going into things naturally and like this. You have one person that's going into the swimming pool, no support, figuring out how to swim without having floaties on. Then you have another person that has floaties on. You could have been in a situation where you needed to have floaties for some reason, but now you can be looking at that and being like, I don't really know how to swim without them, or like I really struggle, but I want to learn how to do that now. So it feels like something like this, where it feels like the appropriate time to be tackling this now. Because this may actually be putting a cap on certain experiences for you, where you're like, I don't really know what it's like to be in the water and to swim in the water and to float in the water without this. It's like this thing that may kind of get in the way a little bit, where you don't get to have the full experience of what it feels like to be just you and the water. Like you have some like third party involvement. And yeah, it can be something where you're like maybe ready to go into the deep end without this. I think the hope has always been that that would be the case, and now can be the time where you're like, it's time to do this now, you know, like taking the training wheels off. But I feel like this could have been maybe support that you were using before that now. For some reason, this feels like not something that you would want to do always and forever. Like you wouldn't always and forever want to be having the floaties on. And there can be an experience that you would like to have without the floaties now, and that can be why you're going to be handling this. For some of you guys, this specifically has to do with certain feelings that you avoid. And yeah, you can be in a space now where you're like, I want to have the full experience of what I'm feeling, and to like really be immersed in that, because I think there's this like deep feeling of joy that you're also going to be able to cultivate. It's kind of like when you open yourself up to everything that you feel, like yes, you can feel the depth of like grief and sadness and mourning, but you also get the other end of the spectrum too, which is that feeling of illumination and elation and just like the mystical experience of feeling things and deep intimacy and connection. And that can be something that you really want to do now. And so because of that, you can be seeing like ways that you avoid that or ways that you push it away. But I get it kind of being like, it's not like you want to push the joy away or the happiness. This feels like I was doing this more so to push like the sadness away, you know, or the despair away, or the whatever. So because of pushing that away, it feels like it also pushed the other things away too. And you were like, that's just how I have to do things to kind of get through. Now that you're moving through this phase right now, I think you're ready to open up to all of it, which when we're open to all of it, you don't get to really pick and choose anymore, but you're also not limiting yourself anymore the way that you were before. But maybe before you felt like you needed to have a cap on things, and that's why this was happening, because you could have been like, I'm in some cycle right now, I need the floaties to be able to get through this. Now that you're out of that cycle, it feels like you don't really need this anymore. Then I think you're going to be a lot more present for it. So yeah, maybe whatever cycle you were in before, you felt like you couldn't survive being completely present, and that could have been part of the reason you were utilizing whatever this was. But yeah, you can want more. You can want to feel more now, and you can want certain experiences, like especially on the emotional front. And so because of that, you're going to have to take the floaties off now. And it seems like that's what this next cycle is going to be about for you. I'm seeing Scorpio coming out here. I get the feeling like you're not going to be hiding so much from your intensity anymore, but maybe that was also something that got you into having the floaties in the first place. Maybe there's a part of you that feels like your energy's too intense, or like the experience is too intense without that, and you can feel like you develop some dependency with the floaties. So yeah, I think there can be a part of you that's like, I'm terrified of doing this, but I think that there's motivation enough for you to do this though. Because I'm seeing this be definitely a desirable direction, but it seems like, you know, you're going to have to go through the shock of not having those floaties on anymore. But once you get through that, it's going to kind of open up a whole new world to you that what you couldn't access before because of having the floaties. It's like, I'm seeing the floaties kind of be the thing between you and the water, so you weren't really experiencing the water firsthand. But now that this is happening, it's like you're going to feel the water firsthand, you know, and all of the things that come with that. But there can be a part of you that's like, I don't know how I'm going to fare without this. And there can be a part of you that's like, can I even like be in the deep end without the floaties? I think it's normal to feel like that. It's kind of like when you're not used to using a certain muscle and now all of a sudden you have to use it, you can feel weakened in that place that you've been using the floaties. So it's just going to take some time for an adjustment, but it's going to open you up to an experience that you didn't have before that it feels like you really want now. And so this is just really the way to be going with all of this. But this feels like something that will be a really huge thing for you to be tackling, because you can feel very, very, very attached to the floaties and you can feel identified with them. And it can even though it's like not part of you in your like origin and nature, there may be such an attachment that it does feel like part of you. So to kind of like separate from the floaties now, it can be like a really big thing, because it can be something that gives you a lot of comfort to have. Like it can be very pacifying that you know that you have this thing here. But I think that you're going to be going into more of an experimental phase to see what happens without them now. And the reason behind this and what's motivating this is that there's something about the experience without the floaties that you can want very badly now, and that may be enough to motivate you to go without them. Because I see some vision that you have now that it can really happen, but you're gonna have to do whatever this taking off the floaties process really is here in order to see that come to fruition. I think too that for some of you guys, this was something that maybe was keeping you from, in a way, like maybe being more independent. That can be something too. Like maybe there's some theme of codependency that's connected with this as well, where you maybe didn't want to have to do something alone and on your own, and when you don't have those floaties, you can be like, it's just me swimming in the deep end now because I don't have the floaties anymore. So it can feel in a way like this, you're taking away an aspect of support that you were getting. Like it was like supplementing you having to do this. So now without this, you're gonna have to make up the difference, which I'm seeing you be capable of. But I think when we grow reliant on something, we can be messed with psychologically a bit. And I think that that's also what's part of this too, is tackling that. Yeah. And then once you start swimming without the floaties, there will be this feeling of like, I would never want to go back to that, but I understand that it was like, I felt like I needed that at that point in time. But then it's something where when you see that you can thrive without the floaties, it's something that you'll look at, you'll be glad that you did it, and you won't want to go back. So yeah, maybe just like being open to the adjustment period and giving yourself time to adjust can be helpful, because this may be something where you're like, I don't like it immediately, and then you're going to adjust, and then you will be happy that that's what you did in the direction that you went in. And again, you're not going to want to go back, because you're not going to want to go, once you taste the freedom of this, you're not going to want to go back to a place where you're actually limited by the thing that is supporting you. Because there's nothing wrong with support in itself. This is a type of support that it feels like it limits you in some way, and it doesn't allow you full expression of some sort, like full choice of some sort. So it's kind of a bargain. There's something about when you are utilizing the floaties, when they're part of your process, there's a bargain that's involved in it, and it may be something that when you think about it, you actually don't want to be paying into that sort of thing. There's going to be some like mind engineering that's going to have to happen here, because I definitely see something coming up where you, because of getting so used to this, there can be this part of you that is like, you're just gonna have to see yourself without the attachment of the floaties. Because there can be a very strong identification with that, and because of it, you can feel like you need that. And even though I'm seeing that you don't, like I can see it within your energy, you don't, you're gonna have to work through that psychologically. And I actually think that's the biggest part of all of this, like the heaviest lifting that you're gonna have to do as far as all of this is concerned, to make the transition. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.